Hello again guys, welcome back to another Big Al's Real Fighting video, and today you see a little bit of sparring, a little bit of clinch work, a little bit of pad work, you see a little bit of everything with a focus primarily actually today on kicks, because this is what I feel that was the weakness of certainly my male student that I have here, these pair of clients. I wanted to work on primarily his kick defense, so that's something you'll see a lot of in this. However, I'm starting off with the young lady. What I've just done prior to filming was I just got the man that I teach to hold the pads for her, because I feel that that will deepen his understanding. It's amazing actually how much you learn by teaching. You actually learn sometimes more when you teach than when you're actually the student yourself. You know, you can really develop a sort of very profound level of knowledge of whatever your chosen field of study is, but in this case martial arts. You can actually deepen your understanding of the martial arts that you choose to fight in by teaching it so much more. It certainly helps a lot anyway. Now at the moment what I'm doing is, as I say, I've just had the young lady doing pad work just to warm up, but I want her to now get used to hitting a real life person, because quite often not, it's a lot different hitting a bag to hitting a real person. Real people, they move around. Real people with different shapes, you know, with different sizes. You know, we're not shaped like a cylinder, like a bag. And occasionally we hit back, and I'm not trying to hit her because she hasn't got any mouth guard or head protection here or anything like that. And obviously I've got no gloves, but I'm just throwing the odd little kick in just to as a little warning, or if I see that her guard's low, I try and tap her on the head. But basically what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get her through aggression, by her getting her to attack me, to learn, and by me attacking a little bit back in return, to learn spacing. Okay, now in martial arts, any martial arts, whatever discipline you choose, distance is, and knowing the distance between you and opponent, which is optimal for you for whatever type of move you're trying to do, is essential. If you try and throw a punch and you're not close enough, you're not going to hit because you're out of range. Or if you throw a certain type of punch, like a jab, but you're up close, really close and personal with your opponent, it's going to be completely ineffective, and you might not even be able to do it simply because you need range for those kind of attacks. Same with kicks and things like this. So learning your own space, which is individual to you, according to your height, according to the length of your legs in proportion to your arms, all that is something that just comes with time. So I feel personally, like we're doing here, just practicing just basic defense where you can attack, you know you're not going to get hurt back, but you can attack, and yes, you're going to have to move around, because I'm going to chase you around a little bit, and I will punish you if you're not aggressive enough, or you're over aggressive or whatever. I'm trying to, as you can see, simulate movement. I want her in this case to learn to maintain the optimal space that is good for her, which may not be good for me. She's shorter than me, so she wants to be closer to me than I want to be to her. I would prefer to be further away, but also I need to keep the distance closed down at the same time, so that you know, she doesn't run away. So it's, as I say, it's just a little bit of practice there. I know that particularly that bit, it might not be so interesting to watch, guys, but actually that is one of the most essential key skills to learn, and how to develop it. It's a great way of developing it for anyone who's learning to pick up a martial art. And you can do it with anyone, because you're not fighting. You can do it without equipment, you can do it with someone who's not experienced, and you can just practice off one another and develop the basic foundation of your skills to start off with, because of course this young lady has no experience of fighting at all in any way whatsoever, in contrast to my male client here, who you see I'll be a little bit more crueler with, not because he's a man. I'm not sexist, I could be just as cruel. In fact, I am with the young lady later on. I do choke her out, but what I'm trying to show here is I want him to develop kick defense. And as you can see there, I'm trying to say, look, you need that solid leg, that you need that solid Muay Thai block, which is where you just simply raise the leg with to knee height, well, to hip height normally, as you'll see me do it. It's not only a marginal raise off the leg, and you block their kick with your shin. And if you don't do it, as you saw, I put him on his ass. What happens is, if you don't do it strongly enough, their kick will just go straight through your defense and hit your back leg, and will take you out, will trip you over. and if you raise it too high, again, the same thing can happen. If you don't raise it high enough, you're not going to defend yourself. So it's all about just confidence, really. And the most key point of this is, yes, confidence, but also balance. You'll see the contrast between me and my client here. He's almost trying to kick out. You can see the fear. He's a little afraid, and it's not just a fear, but it's just lack of experience in some ways also. It's easy to overdo something when it's new. It's easy to overdo something when it's new. You over-exaggerate everything, and as you see, you see him when he talks to me when I come up and start. We swap over, and I start blocking, and he starts kicking. You'll see that mine are very almost look lazy in many ways, but they do the job, and they do the job far better than obviously what my client is doing, because I've got balance. I'm positioning my leg in the optimal position, and I'm conserving as much energy as possible within it. Of course, one thing you need to consider is once you get into ring fighting, obviously at this moment we know we're throwing kicks. So as you can see, our gaze is at the other person's feet. In a real fight, you don't know whether you're going to get punched, elbowed, kicked, kneed, grabbed, thrown. There's a whole host of different attacks that will be coming your way, and you don't know when it's coming. When you're doing drills like this, one, you know it's a kick coming, and you know roughly the pace that your opponent or your client or whatever, your teacher or your student is going at. You know that they're going to throw a kick once every 3 or 4 seconds, so on and so forth. So it's much more controlled in many respects, and it's just, I feel this is important to get the basics, but ultimately sparring is the best way to practice your blocks, because and that's why I do the minimal movement as well. That's the point I was making. You see my minimal movement, because if he's not throwing a kick and he's actually throwing a punch, then I've not wasted or opened myself up, not wasted energy, I opened myself up to the punch by lifting my leg too high. Now what I'm trying to show him now is the potential counters that can come from a knee block, okay, or from a kick block. You can see our block, there's punches, there's kicks, there's stamp kicks, there's roundhouse kicks, which I think is what I do here, and it does a lot of damage, especially if they're off balance, because they can't lift the defensive knee, and that's what I'm trying to say there. Listen, when you throw a kick, get back into position and get ready to throw your own kick defense up in return if your kick has been ineffective at disabling your opponent. You can use the teep or the front kick, as I just did there. You can use stamps like I just did there, where you try and go either for the front or the back knee, and you try to basically crush the knee either in outward or in inward motion, depending which angle you manage to strike at. But punches are actually a good counter, to be honest. Out of all the punch counters, I would actually say a nice left jab is perhaps the quickest, most efficient way of countering. And then, of course, we get into a bit of clinch. We decided to just carry it on. We thought, okay, that's enough kick defense now. Let's just practice this clinch, because this is something that, to me, is the most important part of all martial arts, is grappling up close and personal like this. If you can dominate in the clinch, you're going to be a very, very hard person to defeat, either in the street or in the ring. Now, you can see we've got cones there, because as you've seen on previous videos with this guy, he does like to use a lot of space, and we're trying to limit the amount of space that he utilizes. So, as you see, he has actually improved quite a lot. He actually does keep to his confines, so to speak, of space a lot more effectively. Now, just so you know, from our perspective where we are at the moment, there is my assistant coach there as well, who's saying, no, get him to do some clinch, because he's getting tired. We're trying to build up his cardio. So that's what we're doing here. And I'm throwing the knees in, purposely trying to actually take his knee out, I think. And I'm trying to stamp his knees, and you can see it's brought him down. One point to make here, and this applies to all the videos that we have throughout this series for the next 3 videos, is the male client forgot his mouth guard, so I'm trying not to hit him too much in the head. I'm limiting the amount of damage I'm doing to the head with knees and punches, because I don't want to smash his teeth or bite his tongue. But that's the end of the first video, guys. It's a gentle introduction. The next couple of videos are quite interesting. You see a lot of action from the young lady, and you see some good, real good knockouts between myself and the male client. As I say, he is trying to get into the ring, into a fighting level, so something he has to get used to. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Please check the next video out.